What up, YouTube? T-Movies here, and happy Valentine's Day. In honor of Valentine's Day, I decided to go ahead and do my top 10 favorite romantic comedy movies of the 2010s. Because 2010s has a pretty solid rom-coms. I mean, yeah, some of them worse than, like a lot of them weren't, say anything. Lots of them wasn't Pretty Woman or anything. But there was some pretty solid rom-coms of the 2010s. So with that being said, here's my list of my top 10 favorite romantic comedy movies of the 2010s. Alright. Coming in at number 10, I'm going to go with the film Friends with Benefits. Now, Friends with Benefits was actually pretty solid. You know, in it starred Mila Kunis and Justin Timberlake, who ends up playing these two, who ends up, think it's, like, it's easy to, build their relationship only around sex, so they could be friends without any romance involved. Now, Friends with Benefits was great. Although it did come out in an interesting year because a couple of months before this movie got released, there was another film that was similar to it called No Strings Attached with Ashton Kutcher and Natalie Portman, which I thought was actually pretty solid too. I really got a kick out of No Strings Attached, but Friends with Benefits was a much better film. You know, Mila Kunis and Justin Timberlake, they were both really, solid together. They both really had, great, decent chemistry for one another. You also had the likes of Richard Jenkins, Patricia Clarkson was in this. You had Woody Harrelson. It's from the same director who gave us Easy A, who did a good job at directing. So yeah, if you guys haven't really seen, Friends with Benefits yet, go check it out. Really nice little rom-com. Alright, coming in at number 9, I'm going to go with Ruby Sparks. Now, Ruby Sparks, it's from the same directors who gave us Little Miss Sunshine, and it stars Paul Dano, who plays this young author named Calvin Ware Fields, who ends up, writing about this woman named Ruby Sparks, and all of a sudden she literally reappears, and he ends up falling for his own literary character. Ruby Sparks is one of the most underrated movies of the past 10 years, or the past couple years. This movie is terrific. Paul Dano and Zoe Kazan, who are both, I believe they were either married or just dating in real life. They both were great in this. You also had the likes of Annette Bening, Elliot Gould was in this, Antonio Banderas. Really great cast. If you guys never really seen Ruby Sparks, one of the most original rom-coms I've seen. I mean, a movie about where an author falls in love with his with the character he read. That sounds a little lonely and all, but with this movie it made it really work out perfectly. Alright, coming in at number 8, I'm going to go with Enough Said. Now, this movie is directed by Nicole Hollowfencer, and this is a film that this is a film that stars James Gandolfini and Julia Louis-Dreyfus. And you got James Gandolfini, who portrays this widower whose wife ends up divorcing him, and he ends up falling for this other single parent played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and sparks fly. It was very interesting to see James Gandolfini in very, when you think of Gandolfini, you think of him as Tony Soprano and all. You think of him as the tough guy, but here he was very lighthearted. Him and Julia Louis-Dreyfus both work really well together. Nicole Hollowfencer did a great job at directing. You also had Catherine Keener was in this. Bono's daughter was also in this movie too. If you guys not really seen Enough Said yet, it's a really decent one. Alright, number 7, I'm going to go with Silver Linings Playbook. Now, this movie was directed by David O. Russell, and it stars Bradley Cooper, who plays this guy with bipolar, who wife ends up leaving him, and he ends up losing his job, and he ends up falling for this dancer played by Jennifer Lawrence. And you also got Robert De Niro and Jackie Weaver as his parents. This movie is directed by David O. Russell. Really, this movie is a part of, a movie deals with love, it deals with mental illness and all, but it's really solid. It won Jennifer Lawrence her first ever Oscar. Bradley Cooper was terrific. Really good film. If you guys ever seen Silver Linings Playbook yet, it's another really good solid one. Alright, coming in at number 6, I'm going to go with a recent one, and that is Isn't It Romantic? This is literally one of the most original romantic comedies I've seen this year. You know, it stars Rebel Wilson, who plays this architect, who ends up, bumping her head in the subway at one day, and then the same day, she ends up waking up, and she, ends up being trapped inside a romantic comedy, and she has to find, true love. And you got Liam Hemsworth, Adam Devine, Priyanka Chopra. Really terrific film. I mean, it's a really nice rom-com. Rebel Wilson was terrific. If you guys haven't seen it, it's really solid. Much better than I expected, because the trailers was okay, but I didn't expect it to be this good. Alright, coming in at number 5, it's another one of the most underrated movies of the recent years, and that is Crazy... Oh wait, no. This isn't underrated. Meant to say, number 5 would be Crazy Rich Asians. Now, this movie was directed by John M. Chu, based on the best-selling book. Had a really great cast. Had an all-Asian cast, which I thought was terrific. You got the likes of Constance Wu. My new favorite golden boy, Henry Golding, was great. Michelle Yeoh was terrific. Gemma Chan. Lots of great... Awkwafina stole lots of scenes. Really terrific film. Very funny. Heartfelt, charming. And I'm looking for to check out a sequel. I know we're supposed to get a sequel, but we haven't heard any news about one yet. Alright, coming in at number 4, this is the movie I meant to say that was underrated. And it's another movie with the word crazy in the title, and that is Crazy Stupid Love. Now, this stars Steve Carell, who has like the American dream. He has a good job. He has a great house, great children, a beautiful wife. But his love life isn't really, like, his relationship is getting, like, very rocky. And so he wants to try and he ends up getting divorced from her and all that. And he ends up wanting to try to be cool so he could win her back. And he ends up meeting Ryan Gosling's character, who ends up falling for Emma Stone's character, who, spoiler, this movie is actually, like, this movie has some interesting twists at the end. Whoever knew that a romantic comedy like this will have a twist? Alright, spoiler, but Emma Stone turns out to be the daughter of Steve Carell and Julianne Moore. That was, I remember when I saw this movie, that was a twist I did not see coming. Then also you had Kevin Bacon was in this, Marissa Tomei, Julianne Moore. Crazy Stupid Love was terrific. Really funny, heartfelt, amazing film. If you guys haven't seen Crazy Stupid Love yet, go check that one out. Alright. Coming in at number 3, I'm going to go with Think Like a Man. Now, I kind of talked about this movie the other day when I was talking about my 10 favorite black romance movies of all time. And Think Like a Man is based on the self-help book by Steve Harvey, and it's where these couples ends up finding Steve Harvey's self-help book and use that book to turn against their own wives and all that. And this had a really great cast. You had the likes of Michael Ealy, Kevin Hart, Megan Good, Regina Hall, Taraji P. Henson, Romy Malco was in this. Amazing cast. Great direction by Tim Story. Anyway, this movie has some really fun laughs. Great performance by the cast. You even had Wendy Williams in this, who I'm not at all into Wendy Williams at all, but I really quite like the Wendy Williams role in this. Anyway, if you guys haven't really seen Think Like a Man, go check it out. And the sequel's not all that bad either. Alright, coming in at number 2, I'm going to go with Trainwreck. Now, this is a movie that really broke out, that really made Amy Schumer a star. And in it, she ends up, portraying this woman from who works at a, magazine store, and she's trying to write an article and all that, and she ends up about this doctor, played by Bill Hader, who she ends up, also falling for. Trainwreck, directed by Judd Apatow, it's really funny, and it's very charming, heartfelt. You know who else was actually pretty solid in this? LeBron James. I'm not kidding. I mean, granted, LeBron James is not that great of an actor. I'll be for what you say. But he was actually pretty solid in this. Like, his scenes with Bill Hader was pretty decent. Him in this made me even more excited to check him out in Space Jam 2, And also, even John Cena was pretty good in this. I mean, I could have done without seeing John Cena's behind, but other than that, he was actually pretty solid in this movie. You know, it was another great Judd Apatow rom-com. Great performances by the cast. Amy Schumer, I know it's cool. You know, it's cool to hate on Amy Schumer and all, but I know Amy Schumer is solid in this. And it is a romantic comedy, take place in New York City, and to be honest, some of the best romantic comedies take place in New York City. I'm not kidding. Sleep in Seattle, When Harry Met Sally. I mean, some of my favorite rom-coms take place here, so there's that. Anyway, another reason why I love living in New York City. Alright, my number one favorite romantic comedy movie of the 2010s goes to one of my favorite movies of recent years. It is The Big Sick. You know, it's actually based on a true story about Kumail Nanjiani, who's, of course, famed stand-up comic. He's best known for Silicon Valley. He's going to be in The Eternals soon. You know, it's about his relationship with his wife, Emily Gordon, who ended up being diagnosed with with an illness, and she ended up being in a coma. And it's about their relationship, and she ended up coming out and all. And this movie is actually written by Kumail Nanjiani and his wife Emily Gordon, who in the movie is played by Zoe Kazan. The movie was directed by Micah Showalter, who did a great job at directing. The movie has lots of heart. It's really funny. Judd Apatow was one of the, I think it was one of the writers, if I'm not mistaken, or one of the producers. I think one of the two. Ray Romano and Holly Hunter were both great. Go check out The Big Sick if you guys haven't seen it. I mean, it's a really solid one. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Let me do the quick rundown. 10, Friends with Benefits. 9, Ruby Sparks. 8, Enough Said. 7, Civil Lines Playbook. 6, Is It a Romantic? 5, Crazy Rich Asians. 4, Crazy Stupid Love. 3, Think Like a Man. 2, Trainwreck. And number 1 is The Big Sick. Now there's a few others I probably could have added. Let's see. The aforementioned No Strings Attached. Valentine's Day, New Year's Eve were pretty decent. Blended, Just Go With It. Always Be My Maybe, To All the Boys, The Perfect Date, The Kissing Booth, Sleeping with Other People. Lots of other great ones here. But let me leave it to you guys. What are some of your favorite romantic comedy movies of the 2010s? Drop a comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for more notifications. This here is C-Movie signing.